All right, what's going on, everybody? So I just got finished watching the Crunchyroll original series X Arm, and I'm here to give you guys my brief impressions of the first episode. For those of you that don't know what this is, it's essentially an anime adaptation of a manga by Shinya Komi, and it's being produced by Visual Flight. I believe that this is their first bit of animation. I believe they only done like live action stuff before this, so this is their first animation project and it really shows. When the trailer came out, it was met with a lot of dislikes. There was a lot of dislikes on the video, mainly because people saw that the trailer was terrible. The animation looked bad. It honestly looked like this was going to be shaping up to be one of the worst anime of this year. And I'll be honest, the animation looks slightly better than what it looked like in the trailer. Like now that we got the first episode, but it still looks bad. The worst thing about this is the facial animations. I would say the worst thing about like the 3D models and everything is like the facial animations. It's not like I said, it didn't seem to me as stiff as it was in the trailer, but it still looks bad just overall. They even do this thing where they try to mix 2D with 3D, like 2D animation with 3D in like a few scenes. It just looks bad. But getting off of the animation side of things, because I'll be honest with y'all, it this was kind of hard to watch. It really was. I don't know what it was about this, but am I the only one that like it kind of looked too bright? I don't know. I don't know the right word. I don't really know the right words to use here, but the environments didn't really look. The environments didn't look good. Like this just like visually, this just didn't look good. But in terms of the story, the plot and everything, I think that is kind of interesting. It's more of a futuristic, cyberpunk sort of aesthetic sort of thing that they're going with. And with this episode, essentially, so here's the thing. I read like the first few pages of the first chapter of the manga when I initially saw the trailer, right? So one thing that I noticed, they changed a lot. It seems from the manga. One thing that I don't like, one thing that you can criticize with this episode is that it's kind of jarring what they do. It opens up with like a scene in I believe 2030 or 2020, because like we're time jumping quite a lot in this episode, and it's kind of jarring. Like we go from 2020, it's either 2020 or 2030 to 2014 with Akira and his brother when Akira is like still alive. But we go from like 2020 or 2030 to 2014 and then back to 2030, and just the way that this was put together, narratively speaking, it's not as good. I don't think it's as good as what the manga did, and I don't think I like I said it's kind of jarring as far as like the plot goes. Essentially, Akira, our main character, he has a phobia of technology, which is something that I don't think that this episode kind of did well. The way that they tackled it, I don't think it's as good as what they did in the manga. From what I remember, it's been a while since I've read the manga, since I've read like the first few pages of the first chapter, but I believe it was done a lot better in the manga. And then also I noticed that they cut out like they cut out Akira's brother's girlfriend, and so the thing with Akira, he ends up getting hit by a truck, right? He ends up getting hit by a truck, and then later on, in like 2020 or 2030 or whatever, after that time jump, uh, we're essentially seeing we're essentially seeing the police trying to get their hands on uh, this bit of technology called an X arm that some smugglers they're trying to get their hands on the X arm, and essentially the police are trying to recover the X arm. And so there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot that they cut from the manga. There was a part where the police, where I guess their commander or captain or whatever was briefing them about getting the X arm and everything. But I think that initially, because if you notice, if you watch the show, if you watch this episode, the guy in the truck that hit Akira, he has his picture, and if you read the manga, like I believe that like the way that they tackled it here, because Akira's brother's girlfriend isn't in the picture, it kind of didn't make sense to me. Like I said, it's been a while since I read the manga, but I believe what they did here was a bit jacked up. But essentially, what ends up happening, the police. So we're introduced to these police characters in like 2030 or 2020 or whatever. No. It was 2030. Excuse me. Because like I said, we time jumped around a lot in this episode. But we're introduced to these police officers. So, and forgive me if I mispronounce any names, but it's Minami. I believe that's how you pronounce it. So this police officer named Minami, and then she has a AI, a she's her partner is a AI, a female AI android named Alma. And essentially, what ends up happening is, due to Alma, her chip ends up getting damaged in the middle of one of the fights. So Akira has to end up taking over her body and kind of moving her around. And so that was one aspect of it that could be interesting. Those two characters, Alma and Akira, um, those two characters sharing that body, and then the whole thing with these X arms, they already set up the idea that there are these powerful super weapons called X arms out there, and we get to see the first one in this episode. Somebody that has the I believe it was the eighth X arm, which allows him he can basically how do I describe this? He can basically permeate his hand through like solid walls and stuff, which is pretty cool to see. Like it's a pretty cool. So like the thing I can say about this is like the story, like the whole plot and everything, the setting. It seems interesting, but unfortunately, visually speaking, like animation wise, this just looks terrible. It looks terrible. I can't even mince words. One thing I will give them credit for trying to do at least is they try to, in the action scenes, they try to, it's very dynamic what they were doing with the camera. They were trying to follow sort of follow Alma as she's attacking the what do you call them, the smugglers or whatever, the criminals. And like I see what they were trying to do with the action scenes. Like I'll give them credit for that, but once again, the animation isn't very good. The music in this is terrible. The opening and ending thing very terrible. The just the music is very generic. This honestly, as I saw somebody put a comment down below, they was like, what did they say? They said that that basically video games look better than this, and honestly they do. This looks like it came like this honestly looks like it could have came out in the early 2000s. This just it looks terrible. And like I mentioned before, the worst part about the 3D models is just the expressions. Like it looks so stiff. I really wish that I really wish that they would have gone with 2D animation. Cause honestly, like I said, the plot, the whole story looks interesting, but visually speaking, it's kind of it looks terrible. It's like the same situation that it's like the same situation that I said the other day when I was reviewing Scar on the Praetor, except for Scar on the Praetor, it looks way better visually than this. Like it actually has a style to it, whereas this was kind of hard to watch. I'm not even exaggerating. It was really hard to watch, man. I can't really recommend this anime with all of the better anime out there this season. And I just wish that they would have gone with 2D animation. I would honestly suggest that you read the manga instead of watching this series. But that's just my 2 cents about it. So hopefully this video, kind of gave you some idea as to the quality of this first episode. And if you guys enjoyed listening, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe, and everything. Thank you guys for watching. I'm out of here. Peace.